In today's show, we're rounding up the latest trade rumors about Malcolm Brogdon and Robert Williams, plus recapping a couple losses to the Bulls and Spurs. Hey, what if DeAndre Ayton is finding his rhythm? Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You're listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen, coming at you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same. It's Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's show, a trip to the rumor mill, talking the latest rumblings about Malcolm Brogdon and Robert Williams and why a former coach is eyeing his former players. A reunion in America's fourth largest city, perhaps. We'll recap the losses to the Spurs and the Bulls. Blazers played Friday and Sunday. Since you last heard me, they lost twice. We'll talk about both of those games. And then we'll close the show talking about DeAndre Ayton. He's probably played, not probably, the last three games have been the best stretch of his season, without a doubt. This was, in some ways, the man who was promised. We'll talk about a rhythm and where it's come from, and we'll have some real optimism in a space where I haven't maybe been very optimistic about dominating, mostly frustrating, and me hating, etc. Let's do what we do, though. Or actually, we'll do what we do in the second segment. Let's hit the rumor mill because it's that time of year. You are listening to Monday, January 29th's program. We are just over a week away from the deadline on February 8th. Next Thursday, not this coming Thursday, but the Thursday after is going to be the trade deadline. So, it's here. It's here. The noise is a noise for a reason, but let's unpack the noise. As reported on Friday, after the show came out, because I record the night before, there's nothing I can do about little rumors that trickle out the next morning. And we got a classic Friday news from the news brokers and breakers across the league. Both Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports and Chris Haynes of Turner Broadcasting and Bleacher Report, the Turner family of products, reported that there is interest in Robert Williams from the Houston Rockets. To be clear, Jake Fisher also said that in addition to the Knicks, who are interested in Malcolm Brogdon, we've talked about how the Knicks just are such an obvious trade candidate for Brogdon after they made some other moves, and they have, Evan Fournier's contract, yada yada yada, to make it simple. If they need to make a kind of bummer trade happen for the Blazers, a mad trade happen, they have it. But Houston has apparently come forward as a potential destination, as a team eyeing Malcolm Brogdon. Brogdon, of course, played for the Celtics, Ime Udoka, Celtics connections. So they didn't really cross paths, but they crossed paths because Udoka was in limbo. But the Rockets are at least interested in Brogdon. It's not super easy to make the money work for Malcolm Brogdon's $22 million. In addition, let's actually get it all out there first, and then I'll walk you through the money. In addition, both Haynes and Fisher reported that that even though he's injured and out for the year, that Udoka specifically is interested in Rob Williams and potentially that could be a candidate for trading for Rob Williams while he's out for the year. Intriguing, isn't it? So a couple thoughts on Brogdon. First of all, it's the money is hard to make it work for Houston. He would, Jalen Green's really not working out for them there. They could use some shooting. They're because of the just incredibly fortunate mediocrity from the Blazers' perspective of the Warriors, and because the Lakers can't run away and hide either. The Rockets are just in the hunt. They're just good enough to be in the hunt, and they could make a trade to try to stay in there and be a team that pursues the playoffs. And they've got picks coming their way from the Brooklyn Nets, so maybe they just get good and hope that the Nets get bad, and that will kind of sort itself out. So there's a reason that they would pursue vets. I don't see an easy trade for them to get Malcolm Brogdon. I know what you're saying. You're saying, Mike, they've got two young players that I covet, because I've seen this on r/Rip City on the Reddit, and I got an email about it as well. Only one, though. Thanks. But the two young players that Blazer fans seem to covet on the online is Tari Eason, young forward, and Cam Whitmore, 19-year-old rookie who just went 20th in the draft. I don't see any world where the Rockets trade Cam Whitmore. Why? Think about it. Why would they do it? It doesn't make any sense. They just drafted him. He's a teenager. He's been better than where his draft slot is. The best thing you could do as a team is get like young, cheap players. There's just no reason to trade Cam Whitmore. Zero. Certainly not for Malcolm Brogdon. It makes less than 0 cents. Throw that one out. Tari Eason, he's been hurt for a long time, but he's good, young, valuable player. I would be surprised if Eason I think he's too good of a prospect to be flipped in a Brogdon trade. So I don't think you're going to get either of those. You're talking the bad money. Well, you're not even the bad money, the expiring money. So Jayshawn Tate expiring $6.5 million contract. Victor Oladipo expiring $9 million contract. Conceivably Jeff Green, but he plays every night, making about $9 million. If they want to upgrade, you might have to trade vet for vet. But Uncle Jeff, I like Uncle Jeff Green. He's 37, but he's like a short-term piece, obviously, for anyone. And then conceivably, it was reported way back in November by Michael Scott of Hoops Hype that like the Rockets would use the imminently tradable contract of Jock Landale to make trades happen. He makes $8 million this year, $8 million next year, $8 million the following season. So 2 years after this at $8 million a pop, and then a team option for another, you guessed it, $8 million flat over the course of his contract. It's like $8 million, super tradable. He's like a functional backup center. He's not excellent by any means, but he's like a totally competent backup center. And the $8 million is like a tradable contract. So you're not getting the young players. Jalen Green is a young player they'd want to trade, but it doesn't really make sense for the Blazers to Green is not the player that they should trade for when they have Anthony Simons and Shaedon Sharpe and Scoot. Like they don't need another bad young guard from the G League Ignite. They got that covered. They got the market cornered on that. So I don't see an obvious appealing deal for Brogdon, but if you take on those expiring contracts and you say, listen, these are just the things to make the money work, what do you got to trade? The Rockets do have appealing draft picks. They have their own draft pick in 2025, first round pick. They have the Nets draft pick in 2026, and they have the right to swap draft picks with the Nets in 2027. I think those Nets picks are too valuable for them to give up straight up. That would be like the thing you'd ask for, and they'd say no. So you're talking second rounders. Would you or protections on that Houston's pick or protections on that Brooklyn pick, which that Brooklyn 2026 pick is unprotected. I would negotiate for some protections and see what happens, but they've got those picks. They've got a convoluted 2026 second round pick protected a million different ways, goes here and there and here. They have some. You're not going to get the unprotected picks. You're not going to get the young players you want. So you're going to get the money and a type of protected pick. That's like what Brogdon's market is very likely to be. I don't see a deal for Houston and Malcolm Brogdon easily. It could have to be a multi-team deal, and maybe it'll happen, and we'll talk about it when it happens. But I don't see it easily. Just clicking around on the trade machine. A 1-to-1 swap, I don't see it easily. Rob Williams is more interesting because you can make the money work much easier. He only makes $11 million. He's hurt. He's not going to play, so they're trading for him in the future. And when you're talking about trading an injured player, there are two sort of schools of thought here, and I think this is worth considering when you talk about Rob Williams' trade value. If Robert Williams was healthy, he would be the type of player that either you keep, desperately hold on to because he's really good, or you trade because he's really good and could get you a bunch of stuff back. As an injured person, you're either trading him as an injured person, season-ending knee injury after a series of just struggles to stay healthy, right? It's been his plight, and it's a bummer because he's really good when he's healthy. But like, you're either trading him when his value is lowest because he's out for the season and it's not an immediate help, or you're not getting back the return that you could, or you're getting out from under him. If and the Blazers probably have as good idea on his medicals as any team in the league, right? Because they're the ones that the team he plays for now. That like, if you are worried that Robert Williams never comes back as a player or can't be part of the future, or you don't want to, or you don't have the patience to use that salary slot to wait, and you want for that $11 million in that position on the roster, you want someone to play, and that matters to you for the Blazers. I don't know necessarily why I would, but if it does, then maybe trading him now has value organizationally. I don't necessarily know that it does. Those are like, I don't even know what I think there. I think you would be trading low and you're going to get limited value. You're not going to get a first-round pick back for injured Robert Williams. You're going to get something, like maybe a 2 seconds or something to that effect, and the money to make it work. So you're not getting this big haul. You're not getting a big haul for Williams. I don't see it working for Malcolm Brogdon necessarily with Houston. But I will say this. If two reporters come out on the same day and say that the Houston Rockets are eyeing Robert Williams, there's a reason the like, hey, the folks are out there trying to, the trade chatter happens for a reason. And I think it is noteworthy that there is some chatter around the Blazers and not just seemingly weirdly none around Jeremy Grant, because they keep signaling they don't want to trade him. Some team should trade for Jeremy Grant, and the Blazers should answer the call and trade him. They should at least consider it. They should answer the call. I know Joe Cronin doesn't have a great track record of always answering the phone, but he should. But it is intriguing to me that the Blazers are mentioned here a week out. Brogdon is like a lock to be traded somewhere. And intriguing to me that at least there is either, Rob Williams' camp wants folks to know that there's interest in him, or that the Blazers want it out there, or the Rockets want it out there, that they're being aggressive in their pursuit. Like, it's out there for a reason, and it's sort of quietly come out of nowhere. The connection to Udoka to Rob Williams, and it's worth monitoring. We'll see. You're not getting all the things you want for Rob Williams, but you might. Trading him now might be the maximum value, because if he's not able to get back to the player he once was, or even just a player period, if the knee stuff is, if it's longer term, and that would be really a big bummer, then maybe making the move now makes more sense. Okay, let's talk basketball games. Blazers played 2 of them over the weekend. Spurs on Friday, Bulls on Sunday. Neither of them went well for the old Pinwheels. We'll talk about both of them in the recap. Both of them do our fastest recaps in the West in the second segment. Before we do that, I want to tell you about eBay Motors. They want to help you build that championship team. They know that it's all about passion, drive, and patience. It's what brings home trophies, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. Keeps it on the road. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Whether you need superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, whatever else. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered with over 122 million parts for your ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed fit your ride or die every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, baby, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want. It's easy to turn your car into the MVP. Bring home that W. So keep your ride or die alive. ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. Welcome to Super Bowl week, and happy Super Bowl week to all who celebrate from FanDuel, America's number one sportsbook. We're 2 weeks out. I'm recording this on Sunday evening. The football games have ended. We have got a crash course for, I guess, Bob Weir versus Taylor Swift. I know who that is. But we got Chiefs, we got Niners, and we got a whole bunch of fun to have over there on FanDuel. So many ways for you to end the season with a W, or 2 Ws, or 3 Ws, and now you can bet on who will win Super Bowl 58. But FanDuel also has bets for which players score a touchdown, how many points will be scored, and props on everything you can possibly think of. Plus, new customers who join today get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet or more wins. Just join FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. Still a pass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond. You are still listening to Locked On Blazers. Let's do what we do. Fastest recaps in the West. The Blazers went into the weekend with 2 games, closing out the road trip in San Antonio, and then back for a little mini home stand. Actually, 3 games in 4 nights there in the Moda Center. Kicking off with a game against the Chicago Bulls. Let's start in San Antone. Shout out to my man, Kevin Clabro, who has been sick and not on the broadcast, but he would love to say San Antone in that game 16, 18 times. Blazers lose 116-110. Malcolm Brogdon did not play in that game with right knee soreness, and Blazers led by 7 after 33-26, but the first quarter did not go great. Jeremy Grant played the first 10.5 minutes, and then he checked out with back soreness. And then Scoot Henderson came in and played the last 6 minutes, and then he checked out with a left quad contusion. Got hit in the left quad, bruised up on him, and just didn't return to play. So down Malcolm Brogdon, down Jeremy Grant, down Scoot Henderson after 1, but you're up on the scoreboard not for long. Spurs take a 62-57 lead into the break, and they never trail in the second half. They lead 78-88 after 3, led by as many as 18 in the fourth quarter, and they go on to win 116-110. Anthony Simons was awesome in this game. It was really, really good. 40 points, hit 7 3-pointers, had 10 assists. I thought he was a little sloppy with the ball early, but also like he's just playing with no help around him. It's like just not enough shooting, not enough skill. He goes 7 of 15 from 3. It was a freaking great shooting night from him. The non-Anthony Simonses, 3 of 22 from 3. We'll talk about this in the second segment. DeAndre Ayton had 20 points and 12 boards. That's your fast recap in the West, if I didn't say it. 20 and 12. Him and Ant had good chemistry. When Ant was on the court, DeAndre Ayton looked good. When Ant was off the court, DeAndre Ayton looked bad because they don't have enough guys who can handle the ball. Like they just don't have enough dribblers. And then some of their guys that you kind of count on to play a little bit better. Jabari Walker did not play well. 1 of 5 and had 3 points. Matisse Thybulle had 5 on 1 of 4 shooting from 3. Toumani Camara had 12, but some of that came late. I thought he actually played pretty well. Scoot Henderson 6, but didn't come back. Jeremy Grant 4, but didn't come back. Duop 3, but missed both of his 3-pointers. 2 for Chris Murray, 0 for 6 from 3, 1 of 9 from the floor. He was horrific on offense. Tough night for him. Justin Maya scoreless, 0 for 3 from 3. Ryan Rupert hit a late corner 3. He finished with 3 points. And Taze Moore came in and got 2 shots up in 75 seconds and finished with 2 points. On the other side, Jeremy Zohan was freaking good in this game. 31 points, 14 boards, 23 points and 12 rebounds for Big Vic Wemby, 15 for Devin Vassell. Julian Champagny had 5, Trey Jones 9, Keldon Johnson 21 off the bench. Jetty Osman had 7, 4 and 4 fouls for Zach Collins, who finished with, it was really active and good, but it was just like a classic Zach Collins night. Scoreless for Doug McDermott, scoreless for Mamu, and Blake Wesley finished with 1. There's not much to say about this game. They couldn't make shots. 3 of 22 for non-Anthony Simons you can't spread the floor and do anything. Like there's what can the coach cook up if like you cook up plays and you pass it to the wing and you run in transition and hit it to the wing and dudes just shoot bricks. It's just like they don't have enough creators. Like just don't have enough players who can dribble when they're that shorthanded. And then it's like, okay, so Ant create everything and then we'll space around him. Well, the spacers went 3 of 22 from 3. I don't think they were. I think they just got out-talented in the end of this game. The Spurs were too big. Like the Spurs' size was a problem. Even in the non-Wemby minutes, the Zach Collins and Sohan front line gave the Blazers problems. Blazers turned the ball over 15 times. You're just not going to win. Ant was really good. Da was really good, and then you're at such a talent deficit after those two gentlemen that you lose. I will say the Spurs were favored in this game coming in, and I thought it was a little bit weird. And then Malcolm Brogdon, didn't play. And I was like, well, I guess I could see, favored on the road, end of a road trip. And then when Jeremy Grant and Scoot Henderson got hurt, I was like, Vegas knew. They always know. Okay, Sunday night. Blazers, this is your fast recap in the West for Bulls. 104-96. Chicago wins this one. Blazers down 23-26 after 1 and 42-53 at halftime. Did not take a lead in the first half. Trailed the entire first half. They gave up a dunk in the opening 2 seconds of the game. Off the tip, they gave up a dunk to Ayo Dosunmu. And he said that he was so open coming off of that. He told reporters, he said he told Chicago media that he was so open off the tip-off that he thought he was going to the wrong basket, like a third-grade basketball game. It started poorly, but everybody came back in this one. Malcolm was back, Scoot was back, Jeremy Grant was back. Anthony Simons came into this game listed as questionable with right knee soreness. He played. Jabari Walker came into this game listed as questionable with left knee soreness. He played. So this is your full complement of dudes for the most part. Everyone's coming off injured list, bumps and bruises. It's that time of year for bumps and bruises, but you got everybody. You can run your preferred lineups, and you go out there and do it, and you're down 23-26 after one. You're down 42-53 at the break, but they hung in there. And when Jeremy Grant hit a free throw with 2 minutes and 12 seconds left in the third quarter, they take their first lead of the game, led by one twice in the closing 2 minutes of the third quarter, found themselves down 75-76 heading in the fourth quarter. Never led again. Did not have a lead in the fourth. But it got close. Cut the lead to 3 twice in the closing minutes. One when Matisse Thybulle hit like a running lefty floater hook. Awesome shot from Matisse. He cut the lead to 94-97 with 1:37 left. And then after some DeRozan free throws, Anthony Simons gets a rebound off a Kobe White miss, pushed the other way quickly in transition, doesn't wait. He gets a screen, says, "You can't guard me," Nikola Vucevic, gets himself all the way to the rack, cuts it to 3, 40 seconds left. The Blazers need to play defense for one possession, get a rebound, score. And that'll be the game. And they don't. They kind of send a soft double team to DeRozan, get the ball out of his hands. He finds Vucevic eventually on the right wing, and they send it like a kind of a soft double to him on maybe at 17 feet, kind of on the baseline. And he just kicks the ball back to Ayo Dosunmu, and Ayo cash money. Bulls go up by 6 with 21 seconds left, and that's your ball game. You're in scramble mode. Blazers can't scramble and get it done. Blazers lose 104-96. That's your fastest recap in the West. To the box score we go real quick. Jeremy Grant, 24. DeAndre Ayton and 7 boards. DeAndre Ayton, 22 and 12. Another really good game for him. Anthony Simons, 11 points on 4-15 shooting. He was not good. And they doubled him all freaking night. And then everybody missed shots. The Blazers went 6 of 33 from 3. It's really hard for Ant because, he needs to accept the double teams. Part of it is like, spray out to shooters like with Brogdon, and it's one thing when you don't have shooters on the court, but when you have Brogdon and you have Jeremy Grant on the court, like, and Jabari Walker just has to shoot. If he's going to play, he has to shoot, and he's in there. It's like, and Matisse Thybulle, he can shoot. It's like, if you're going to spread the court with your veteran shooters, Jabari Walker, a young veteran, but like Ant getting blitz and double team, he obviously Alex Caruso is a really good defender, and they would send a second guy at him. So it was going to be tough on Ant. This is a tough game for him, but accepting a double team, get the ball out of your hands is a way to like open stuff up. See DeAndre Ayton's stat line. But if you shoot bricks behind him, then you just don't ever have to think twice about double teaming. You don't have to say, okay, well, we keep leaving these guys. They're creating open looks and shooting bricks. 6 of 33 from 3. Just a gross night after a gross shooting night on Friday. 16, 6 and 6 from Malcolm Brogdon. Just what he does. 7 for Matisse Thybulle, 4 for Scoot Henderson, 3 for Duop Reith. Blazers basically played 8 guys. And Toumani Camara came in for one little defensive stretch, played 2 minutes and 48 seconds off the bench and scored 2 points. On the Bulls side, 20 for DeMar DeRozan, 15 for Kobe White to go with 5 boards and 9 assists, 11 for Ayo Dosunmu, along with 5 rebounds, 9 for Alex Caruso, including 5 boards and 3 assists. Vucevic, 14 and 7 off the bench. Andre Drummond had 15 and 7, 11 for Julian Phillips, rookie from Tennessee, who I thought looked really good in this game. Javon Carter had 6, and Dalen Terry had 3. I don't know that there's much to say about this one. They've just had they're not a very good offensive team. They had some stinkers on offense. They kind of need to be competitive. They need their best guys to play really well. And on a night where Malcolm Brogdon and Anthony Simons combined to go 8 for 28, you're going to lose. So I think it's pretty much that simple. They didn't turn the Bulls only had 5 turnovers to their 4. They lost the possession game, but like it's if you shoot 6 of 33 from 3 and you turn the ball over, it's going to be tough. And it really came down to needing, they were within a bucket or 2 in the final 30 seconds, and it was tough. Like that's the margin becomes pretty slim. But I want to talk about DeAndre Ayton has been good the last 3 games, the best stretch of his season by far. The man we were promised has arrived. Let's talk about what we've seen from DA and how his chemistry with Ant is kind of fueling this whole thing. But first, I want to tell you about a new sponsor for the program. It's Quiz. They want to let you have fun by being someone who knows a bunch about sports. And if you listen to this podcast, Quiz might be for you. That's Quiz with 3 eyes is the next generation for your trivia experience. It's also the world's first platform where you can earn money playing knowledge games. And for you, the Locked On Blazers listener, they created an NBA quiz game where you can test your knowledge and win real cash, play with friends, or you can play with other fans, and let your knowledge shine all the way to the bank. You can play without downloading anything. Just go to app.quiz.com. That's Quiz with 3 eyes. Start playing today. NBA Quiz is the ultimate knowledge challenge for fans that live and breathe basketball. Quiz, to get you started, the base level questions are things like, who's the Blazers mascot? You know, it's your boy Blaze and Douglas Fur. It's what building do the Blazers play in, and who holds the franchise record for most points? That's Damian Lillard, who we'll see later this week back in the building. But once you build up from there, once you nail that first round of questions, it gets a little bit tougher. So why don't you go to app.quiz to test your knowledge and win cash today. That's Quiz with 3 eyes, just like a 3-pointer. Play now, showcase your skills, and take home cash prizes. App.quiz.com, where fans become champions. Still a pass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond, and you are still listening to Locked On Blazers. DeAndre Ayton's last 3 games, 18-17, 20-12, 22-12. Coming into this stretch, he hadn't had 16 or more points in back-to-back games at any point this season. He's hooping. He's playing well. Against San Antonio, he was one of the few bright spots. I'm gonna say this and then move on from it, because I'm gonna bring the positivity here. DeAndre Ayton leaves a little too much meat on the bone for me. Even when he plays well, I feel like he could do more, and I felt like, quite frankly, listening to the Blazers broadcast, they kind of hinted at that tonight. But he was solid against the Spurs, undeniable. 20 points on 10 of 17 shooting. 12 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals. He held his own against Victor Wembanyama. He wasn't dominant best player on the court. That was Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons had 40 and 10. he was great. 40 and 10 for Ant. He was great. Followed up with a bummer on Sunday, but Ant was so good on Friday night. He kept the Blazers at least in shouting distance when they were so light on healthy bodies. But when Ant and DA played together, when they shared the court, they looked good against the Spurs. Their pick and roll chemistry is better. DA is developing a sense of, he wants to short roll. Like, I'm not complimenting that. Okay, positivity. He wants to short roll. He wants to stop in the mid range, right? Like, that's his comfort zone. But when there is a double team on Ant, that's where he's supposed to stop. So it works for both parties. I think his decision-making has been a little bit faster. He had a couple plays against, in the Spurs game where he just he flashes his good footwork, where he gets good balance and can drop step and get himself space. And, he wants to take jumpers, and getting your feet in position to take good, clean jumpers that you can make and right-handed hook shots you can make. DA is capable of it if he takes his time and plays with focus. It's not always force, but focus. Like, don't rush, don't leave it short. Don't he has such good touch that if he plays in rhythm and plays in really in rhythm, then he can be a really solid offensive player. He needs help. I think that is undeniably clear. Like, the best version of DeAndre Ayton was the dude who played with Chris Paul and Devin Booker, right? And Devin Booker during his ascension, like, really good teammates who brought the best out of DA. And when he's been on the Blazers with worse teammates, he's looked worse. But he just hasn't played with Anthony Simons that much. And as they continue to play more together and continue to sort of develop that chemistry, I think we can get more of this. Is it a little frustrating that's happening in the second half of the season? Sure. But, this is where we are. embrace where you're at. And this is where you're at with DA with 18 and 17, 20 and 12, 22 and 12, and 3 straight games. His first time all year he scored 20 in back-to-back games. But like I said, first time all year he scored 16 or more in back-to-back games. I thought against the Bulls he was really solid again. 22 on 9 of 12. He's not crushing the offensive glass, but I think the Blazers, everybody crashes so hard on the Blazers that they give up transition points. So I'm not going to really, DA, you can get back because nobody else is. I'm not going to knock him for that. He was solid. And he had 4 dunks in the game. They ran a little dribble handoff like where he slipped for a lob. They run this dribble weave handoff thing they've been running to kind of give a couple options or at least make the defense think before they get into basically a high pick and roll play. And DA read it and slipped to the rim early against the Bulls and got a dunk off a pass from Anthony Simons. Like their chemistry is growing. He's a lob threat. Scoot threw him a really nice lob play where he kind of waited, and then hung in the air and threw one to him. He can be a guy who finishes above the rim. He's not going to dunk 5 times a game. Like it's just not who he is. He caught one in the post against Vucevic, and he kind of could have gone up right away, but he kind of hesitated, was worried about getting blocked, and ended up going to the free throw line and not scoring on it. Or ended up not scoring the bucket and going to the free throw line. But he needs to play with your best pick and roll players. Him and Malcolm Brogdon haven't found it yet because I think Brog doesn't demand the sort of attention that Anthony Simons does. But Ant and DA have a chemistry. And to me, that is meaningful, if only because they're part of what's next. Maybe not like long-term, long tail, but like these 2 dudes are going to be on the team in the second half of the season, post-trade deadline. They're almost certainly going to be on the team when the rosters open up when the camp opens up next fall. Like these are going to be 2 of your best players when the season starts next year, and having them play well together is an undeniable positive. I've been frustrated and down on DA a lot this year. Like for sure, if you listen to this podcast, I have struggled to say nice things about him because I've been frustrated. I just am frustrated watching him play. Like I said, leaves a lot of meat on the bone. I got to shut up about that right now because this is the best stretch he's played. It's the best stretch he's played. And he's just like, this is what I thought we might get early in the season. It's like, hey, he's just going to be productive. Like he's just going to fill up the box score. He's going to have 20 and 12 because he's capable of it. And then, and there'll be some bumps and warts and things along the way, just like with, any player. Like Anthony Simons has 40 and 10 as a bad game on Sunday. It's like there's bumps and bruises along the way. But I thought the production was always going to be there, and it was going to be the littler stuff with DA. Well, the production is getting there. And if this was just like not enough time playing with the best pick and roll partner on the team and an offensive game plan from the coaching staff that didn't maximize him, couldn't figure out how to maximize him any other way. But if the way was going to be was him running pick and rolls with Ant, well, guess what? They're both healthy. They can run pick and rolls, and we're getting the best version of DA. So, celebrate it. Like I said, when good things happen to this particular team at this particular stage, hold on to your joy. And DA he's playing well. He's playing the best stretch of his career, and the reward he gets is a game against Joel Embiid, probably. And then Giannis Antetokounmpo and Brook Lopez, probably. Tough stretch for the Blazers coming up. Fun games against Philly and Milwaukee. I'll be covered for the game against the Sixers. Look for that one in your feed tomorrow. A recap of that one. And then on... that'll be on Tuesday's show, and then Wednesday's show ahead of the game against the Bucks, crossover episode with the good folks at Locked On Bucks, talking about what we've seen from Dame and kind of previewing that matchup. It'll be that one you will not want to miss. And then after Damian Lillard's return, we'll talk about everything that happened in the arena that night. Damian Lillard back in the building on Thursday's show. That's a full week of shows, and Friday we'll round up the latest trade rumors. How's that sound? Couple good basketball games, an interview, and then your latest trade news. 5 days a week, wherever you get podcasts, and also on YouTube. Tell your friends about the program. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.